Looks like Brooke Buckner is going to be on that far side of your screen. She's going to serve to start us off.
Balkan ball, game 1, time in. 0-0. Point.
Like you said, Thomas, these two have not played in over a year, which is pretty shocking. Last time they played was the 2024 Masters.
1-0.
Buckner winning that one 11-6, 11-3.
Point. Serving 2.
Brooke Buckner with the new Yola Agassi paddle.
2-0.
A little bit of an interesting shape, more like a tennis racket.
Makes sense for Agassi.
That is true.
And then Steffi Graf as well came out with her own paddle for Yola as well. Both of them competing at Pickleball Slam, I believe, just last week in Las Vegas.
Coming out with a dub, too.
Yeah.
Bringing down Roddick and Bouchard.
Andy Roddick, not the biggest fan of pickleball. So
yet he plays every pickle slam,
right?
so come on.
I know. Man. Come on.
Pick a side, bro.
Stick to your guns, Andy. Come on.
Yeah, Mary Brascia, one of the things to look for, she oftentimes passes cross court. She hits on the outside of the ball really well off of both sides, has sharp dipping angles, which really neutralizes opponents. And Brooke Buckner just absolutely ropes the ball off of both sides. One of the few players that can do it off of both sides. Typically, players have one favorite side. The jack sock running around hit every forehand, but Brooke likes both sides equally, which is impressive.
And you think of, Brooke Buckner, just one of the cleanest ball strikers in the game. I mean, just so much power, and you almost see her kind of match the power of Anna Leigh Waters in women's singles, which it seems like really no one else has been able to do. I mean, they've had some battles in the past.
1-2. Side out.
Just long there, yeah, I agree. I think Brooke maybe consistently, it'd be interesting to see if we could ever get stats on that, but consistent ball speed from ground strokes.
Oh, yeah.
I think may even be a little bit harder than Anna Leigh. But that's partially because Anna Leigh does a good job of mixing up pace and, angles and things like that. But Brooke, is pretty consistently just absolutely ripping the ball.
Right.
Which works out really well for her.
Yeah, I mean, shoot. 7 singles medals in 2024.
7?
7.
Wow, that's awesome. 3
titles to go along with that.
Point.
Mary Brascia, to her credit, 4 singles medals, captured her first career title at Red Rock in April.
4-1.
So a really solid 2024 for both of these ladies, and like we said earlier, just looking for a strong start to this year as well. Buckner in Tucson finished in 4th place, losing to Kate Fakey in the bronze medal match.
5-1.
Yeah, another just penetrating ground stroke there from Brooke Buckner. It's so heavy.
1 minute.
Not only is it deep.
1. Point. Seven 1.
Look, 7-1 lead from Buckner here, coming out strong.
Yeah.
Nice angle there from Brascia, gets Buckner on the run.
That's one of the toughest parts when you play somebody like Brooke Buckner with such powerful ground strokes. You can just rattle off points so quickly, which has happened thus far. 7-1 lead. Mary's got to be thinking, how can I slow this down?
1-7.
Maybe extend the points, get to the net a little bit quicker, just throw Buckner out of rhythm. There's
Side
an
out.
angle attempt. I mean, that is her favorite shot off both sides, which typically is so effective. Even if you know it's coming, if she hits that shot well like she typically does, it neutralizes you, right? Yes, you might be dipping a low ball to my backhand, but what can I do? I can't step in the kitchen line.
7-1.
Or you can, but you'd be called for a fault.
Exactly. If you want to cheat to win,
yeah, right. Exactly.
Go ahead and try. Oh, she had it though, but I think that's the right play. Coming in on the right ball against Brooke. She had a floater there, but there's a ton of spin on it. Just went right to the bottom of the net.
Right. I think sometimes if you do get Buckner on the run, she will kind of open up the paddle face and hit with like slice. Usually not as an aggressive of a shot from her, so I think that could be the attackable ball that Brascia's looking for. If she's able to get Buckner to have to hit slice on either the forehand or backhand wing.
Yeah, because you're right. When Buckner is able to load at all with her legs,
1-8.
it's really tough to handle. But she's moving laterally. But I think even moving forward too is a little bit less natural for players. Let's see Buckner moving well side to side there.
That one just wide from Buckner, but even then you just see the danger of approaching when she's got time to load on that forehand. I feel like that's a shot she's going to make
2-8.
more times than not, that passing shot.
Yeah, just missed.
Just power pickleball, Thomas.
I mean, there's nothing you can do against that. Brooks, hitting consistent ground strokes within a foot from the baseline with that amount of topspin. I would not want to be on the other side of that.
No.
Side out.
I do like, though, Brascia, when she doesn't get a hold of the return, she is choosing to stay back. Because if you're trying to come in off of a serve like that, you hit a sitting duck return, Brooke's going to pass you left and right.
Side out.
And it's tough, too, with the ball coming so quickly off of Brooke's paddle. You just feel rushed. You can tell on that one, it wasn't that great of a shot by Brooke, but you can tell mentally Mary is just feeling a little bit uncomfortable, a little rushed, and like she doesn't have enough time to hit the shots the way she wants to. She typically doesn't miss a backhand like that, but she's kind of off balance and just hasn't quite found the rhythm yet, which is understandable with a player hitting as big as Brooke.
Side out.
That's a better point there from Brascia. Had a really nice deep backhand that even though Buckner, hit a topspin forehand on it, she wasn't able to get her weight into it. I think that was what allowed her to kind of get ahead of that volley and get ahead of the rally.
And we're seeing a lot
2-9.
more cut volleys like Brascia just hit there, which really neutralizes people like Brooke with amazing ground strokes and passing shots, because if you keep them deep, you're just getting them another shot to pass you. But if you hit a nice cut slice, you're forcing them to sprint forward and hit a shot from below the net and not a ground stroke.
Ooh.
That's just too good from Brooke.
Just rotates through it.
But again, that was kind of a soft ball in the middle. Brooke's going to pass all day long on that. So when Brascia's volleying, either hit more topspin with a little bit more depth, or go ahead and hit that cut drop to force Brooke forward.
Brings up game point for Buckner, 10-2.
Point game. 11-2.
I mean, that shot right there beats anybody.
Right. Yeah, that's this.
Flow like that. Why sit down?
Right, exactly, yeah.
Just especially singles is a game of rhythm,
Time
a
in.
game of runs.
0-0.
So Brooke wants to keep that rolling as much as possible.
Point.
Buckner overcooks that one. Brascia on the board first.
I think if Mary sees just a couple errors like that from Brooke, it'll just mentally allow her to settle down, because Brooke just brought so much pressure in game one. Didn't really have any unforced errors. Just feels a little bit overwhelming.
And that's a much better sequence.
Love that play from Mary. Again, dropping like that. It wasn't a perfect drop shot. She just kind of dumped it at the kitchen line. But that forced Brooke to move forward and took away her ground strokes, which is all she wants to do typically. So I think she talked a little bit of strategy with her dad.
Point.
Dad and coach on the break there. And I'm sure that's what they talked about. You have to take a player out of the rhythm by switching the speed and the spin of the ball. looks like Mary's committed to staying back, which I don't disagree with. I mean, if Brooke is hitting such good passing shots, why would you come to net?
Right.
And typically in pickleball, though, it's the first to come to the net is, who's
0-3.
dominating and winning. But, if it's not working, you got to switch it up.
Just kind of goes into the nuances, of strategy, right? Not every strategy is going to work against every opponent. It's one of the great things about the sport.
Just inside the line there.
Somehow stays in. I mean, that ball had some height over the net and just drops at the last second.
Yeah, I mean, she hit that from her ankles halfway up the court and still dropped it in. That's just an impressive shot from Brooke Buckner. Just overcooked that pass a little bit.
Let it get a little bit high. Do you like the slice approach there from Buckner?
It worked that time,
yeah.
But typically, if you slice an approach, that just gives the opportunity for your opponent to hit even more topspin. And I think if she does that consistently, Mary will find that and dip the ball even more than she does. But again, changing up the spin and the pace of the ball is always effective.
So even though Brascia missed that volley, I think that was a great play, and it goes into what you were saying earlier. She hit a shorter ball, which means Buckner was going to have to hit up whenever she got to it, and she actually got an attackable volley there, just didn't execute.
Yeah, exactly, and I think the key for Mary is just keep it out of Brooke's strike zone if at all possible. Even take some off, hit kind of a higher, heavy ground stroke.
3-3.
Some short ones that you just can't give it into Brooke's wheelhouse. She's just too good. Beautiful volley there from Brascia.
Just able to get out in front of it, kind of absorb the pace and just redirect it, not add any pace of her own. Because trust me, Brooke's forehand, that was already coming fast enough.
3-3.
3-all now.
Side out. 3-3. Point.
Again, it looked like Brascia kind of tried to go for a shorter angle there off the backhand, but Buckner just continued to get it really deep, close to the baseline.
Yeah, just the depth on Brooke's ground strokes right now. There's just really not much you can do if you're Mary.
Side out.
But she likes that kind of depth when it's
yeah.
when it's out.
Exactly.
She'll take a few more of those.
Right.
3-4.
Oh, what a get by Brooke Buckner.
Wow, off the net. Thought the point was over.
Yeah, and it looked like Mary on her approach shot, she thought she sailed it long, so she took a little hesitant step and was a little bit late getting up and didn't hit the best volley.
What a backhand from Mary Brascia.
That's the Brascia backhand we're used to seeing.
It's like the Barlow backhand from yesterday. Come on.
3-4.
See if that gives her some momentum here.
Gosh.
Wow.
I mean,
Side out.
Brascia just hits an approach shot right in the corner, a foot from the baseline. And Buckner just rips across court pass. I mean, someone's making shots like that, you just have to give him a little hand clap.
Right.
Point.
Brascia adjusting.
I think a little lead tape flying off
Receiver,
there on the top.
5-3.
Leading 5-3.
Time in.
In game 2.
5-3. Point.
And off the net, and even in that rally, it's just people talk about the depth, but that has really been the difference maker just in those baseline rallies in this match.
6-3.
you see that slice,
Side
Buckner
out.
trying to change it up, but Brascia takes full advantage. I think that's what you hinted at earlier, Thomas, just kind of the dangers of slicing at
3-6.
non-advantageous times.
Yeah, typically, giving any slice, players are kind of licking their chops because they know they can spin the heck out of the next ball. Oop, ball on.
Ball on. Stop play.
Like I didn't even see it until it was already
I will
fell from the sky.
Yeah, it came straight down.
3-6.
Just even off the return. I mean, that you hit a serve, which is not a bad serve from Brascia, but then you get a return like that, and you're already on the defense hitting that third shot.
Great shot. I mean, again, two great ground strokes from Brooke Buckner. It looks like Mary's just kind of fighting to even be on balance because the ball's coming so quickly. She's getting pushed back on every shot, but hung in there with a great backhand pass down the line.
Side out.
And, when a player's playing as well as Brooke Buckner, you just feel so much pressure. I'm sure Mary's thinking right now, like, what do I do? You can tell she's trying to change up the spin, come in, stay back. But really, if somebody's playing as well as Brooke, there's sometimes just not much you can do. Just hope that you kind of weather the storm and fight through it.
Side out.
We see Brascia making an effort there just to keep everything to the backhand.
Yeah, it's kind of a short little angle out of Brooke's strike zone a little bit more. It's interesting that Brooke chose to not come in on a couple of those because they were just past the kitchen line, but
3-6.
See if Mary sticks to that.
Point.
And one of the reasons why Buckner maybe didn't come in is because she's gotten beat a few times, because we know Mary Brascia has excellent passing shots.
Side out.
Yeah, just a couple uncharacteristic errors here from Brascia, but understanding that really it's coming from the pressure that Brooke Buckner is putting on her. Feeling like she has to hit perfect shots and paint the lines to win a point. I mean, Brooke moves well. She's striking the ball well off of both sides.
6-4.
Really not a whole lot open.
Point.
Brascia
Called that just wide. Look close.
again going for the angle.
7-4.
I mean, Mary's being pushed back on every shot almost. That return,
8-4.
she's falling back. The next one she is too, just because Brooke is, almost painting the baseline on these ground strokes.
Side out.
Brascia gets the serve back, trailing
4-8. Side out.
It's interesting. Typically, Brascia is, one of the most consistent singles players with really limits unforced errors.
8-4.
Plays high percentage, hits nice cross-court shots, passing shots, doesn't really go for the lines necessarily,
Side
but
out.
she's just kind of sailing a few of these balls along.
Again, like you've said, it's just the pressure, right, of knowing how hard the
4-8.
next ball could potentially come. It is interesting, though. I was watching Brascia warm up before the match, and she, on a few of her serves, she was kind of doing like a hop, step, kind of a skip into the serve. I haven't really seen that as much in this match. It's mostly just hitting it stationarily.
Point.
Yeah, I wonder if that's something she's tinkering with. It seems like a lot of players are starting to change up their serve, get more legs into it. Some are taking multiple steps as they walk into the serve. Some are doing bunny hops, apparently, that I haven't seen. But, why not try things out? See that one. I mean, that should be an approach shot for Brascia, but you can tell she just second-guessed it, didn't swing through the ball, just kind of guided it, and then ended up kind of scooting back as she hit it. She just was very indecisive there, understandably so. that is typically Brascia's bread and butter. Cross court, cross court, cross court all day long. She just dips the ball so well. And, you know, hitting cross court, the ball's moving away from the player. Really well done.
Still within striking distance, trailing by 2.
Unbelievable forehand from Buckner.
Point of the match thus far.
It's interesting that Brascia chose to go to the forehand of Buckner, because I think the only thing that's kind of been working is when she does hit that kind of shorter angle to Buckner. She's not as comfortable coming in off the backhand side. She wants to rip that forehand and come in. She gave her one look at a forehand, point was over. Ooh, I think that was long.
White ball, left foot. Side out.
Even if it was?
Hey, she won the point
Still
twice.
Worked out, yeah.
Yeah, she's questioning it.
Ended up going her way either way, so. Still knotted at 6-8.
Point.
And we've seen, I think it's the 3rd missed return we've seen from Brooke Buckner in this game.
I'd like to see Brascia continue to stay in that backhand to backhand rally as we see here, but the short angle is typically more effective than hitting deep. Oh, she had what she wanted.
Side out.
Brooke overcooked that pass a little bit, but it kind of jammed Mary. She didn't get her feet set early enough. I think she was just surprised that she hit it that high. But again, you know, they started off with a backhand to backhand rally. Brascia chooses to give it to Brooke's forehand, and then she just gets immediate command of the point.
Side out.
Again, that cross-court pass again from Brascia forces the error.
Yeah, she just hits the outside of the ball so well. Even in doubles, when she's dinking, she has such a good cross-court dink because she gets the outside of the ball, which really helps prevent pop-ups and just gives you better angle, keeping the ball down with topspin and away from your opponents.
Missed serve at. Never want to miss a serve, but it's a
she's
tough time.
So hard to stay in this, and a missed serve just really hurts. Just too good for Brooke, but again, giving her a forehand, she's more comfortable coming to the net and being aggressive on her forehand side.
Side out.
And the timeout proving effective for Brascia.
Side out.
Great little stab volley there from Buckner. There's so much spin on that. Just awkward when you're having almost full sprint and hit that ball from your shoelaces. It's hard to keep it down.
Again, there was one ball from Buckner in the middle of that rally that caught just the back edge of the line.
I thought it was going long, but oof.
Point.
Brascia just didn't quite get her legs under her there. But again, I like that she was continuing to go with the backhand angle pattern, which is really the only thing that's worked so far consistently.
10-7. point, game match, 11-7.
And that backhand goes wide from Brascia, closes out the match. Brooke Buckner